our deliberations right here in studio as we evaluate the state of the nation, bearing in mind the recent political developments that have played out in the country. I'm joined in studio by Patrick Osoi, a political analyst. Asante sana for your time. And equally Melita Olendile, who's a political and governance analyst. Asante sana. Let's continue with the deliberations. And as you come in and add on to what he had to say, I'd like to pose a question because we ran a story on an apparent impeachment motion that is cooking currently against the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. And we've heard from his political friends that this affront is an affront against the mountain. Perhaps showing how whatever he was saying, you know, about tribal politics and whatnot, that it's still deeply entrenched in our politics. What do you make of such a move? Is it the right time? Should Kenya Kwanza be focused on delivering for Kenyans rather than, you know, this political musical chairs of trying to get rid of a particular position in a,
So, you know, what we are looking here, we are looking at political stability. So we can't, or Kenya Kwanza government, or whichever government cannot be able to run unless they have stabilized the political heat. So in this case, and what I want to say here is that if you do not agree on transactional leadership in this country, where money exchange hands, you are deemed to make sure that you fail. So the situation here for Deputy President today, probably, and what I'm foreseeing is there's been a disagreement on transaction. Like, what am I getting? What is he taking? And that is what we have been having in this country. And that is why I'm saying, me as a young person, and as young people in this country, we are going to do an overhaul in 2027 so that we do not have those kind of debates whereby what am I taking, what is he taking? Can we have a country that is run by a structure system? I always say that to define even this KTN organization today, we cannot look at the individuals. I will just come and ask, what are your structures? I'm able to see the structures, and that's what defines this country. So can we have a country that is defined by structures and formation, but not individuals or tribes?
Okay, interesting. Delita, briefly on your take, because some of those accusations have been termed as frivolous. They don't hold any water in terms of the allegations that are facing the Deputy President, but still, this must have come from somewhere within the ruling Kenya Kwanza. So what do you make of such accusations against the Deputy President? Are we seeing the beginning of the end? Perhaps what we saw in the previous administration in terms of the push and pull between the president and the deputy. How do we ensure that these two work together, are conjoined to the hip? Because Kenyans did vote for them as a ticket, both of them.
Thank you very much. You know, I think such partnerships are based on convenience. If you remember what Mutahi Ngunyi had called tyranny of numbers, and I wanted Osoi to come to the reality that the Kenyan politics or African politics will for a long time be dictated by ethnicities. Now, coming to what your question is on the Deputy President, way before the current crisis that we are facing now, the Deputy President had already come under attack from certain sections of Kenya. Because when he came out with the slogan of one man, one vote, one shilling, there are quotas within this country, and especially the pastoralist, northeastern, and other parts who are against that idea because to them, there is, you know, their counter argument is that it should be one man, 1 kilometer, because of the vastness of their areas where they come from. And the argument also was that it is quite divisive, especially for a public officer and of such seniority as a Deputy President, that such remarks or such slogans would only divide this country further, because there are certain sections of this country that still feel that they've never had anything any benefit since independence. But there are some where the deputy president comes from that has enjoyed power since independence, and they still want to perpetuate such. So when you say it doesn't hold any ground, there are certain grounds that hold some evidence to it, because it is against the principles and ethics of such an officer to portray the sloganeering that seem to isolate sections of this country. Number two, as recently as I think days ago, he also mentioned that he loves his own people. You know, the deputy president is part and parcel of the presidency. The presidency is supposed to be the symbol of national unity.
Yeah. But you said politics is local.
Yes, know? So there's an argument that should such a person become a president, he will definitely isolate the rest of the country.
Interesting.
Thank you. Yeah. As a young person, I'll tell you this. Today, you'll find a situation whereby, for me, I speak more than 8 languages, right? What defines me as an ethnic? If we are defined, but is it the language, or what defines, when you say ethnicity, what do we see, or what are we purporting here? What I'm trying to say is that if it's about ethnicity, someone like me speaks 8 languages. So, and in this case, the top 5 languages in this country. So, because I'm running for Kenyan president in 2027, if you guys, you're basing politics on the ethnicity, I can tell you for sure, then I will have the win early in the morning. You get what I mean? So, so that is why I'm saying, let us not look at our tribe. What are they benefiting? So let us look on what are the meritocratic, what merit do you have? Do you have the ability? I don't care where you come from. I don't care what religion you come from. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what gender you are. But are you able to drive this country? Because I cannot give you a possession, yet Merita has the ability to run something here, and because I want to favor you on matters of where you come from. Yes.
Gentlemen, as we finalize, because time does fly when you're having fun, quote unquote.
Yes.
Let's finalize perhaps with your final comment to Kenyans, because this coming week will be quite intensive, and the coming months as well. If we can borrow from what the president had to say just last week, he gave a couple of assurances in terms of the fight against corruption, that they'll be seeking to change the laws around that. Equally, when it comes to matters, governance and accountability, of course, the ball lies not just with the executive, but parliament as well, to change some of these laws and policies. Going forward, what do you foresee as political analysts that will play in the political space we have in the country? Melita, first of all, briefly.
Thank you very much. I think we are sort of on a break from a very critical moment as a country. We've seen a lot of violence. People have lost their lives, very unfortunately. But as an optimist, I would really urge us as Kenyans to tone down on the political rhetoric. And I would also like to encourage each and every Kenyan out there to embrace what we are now, the president is calling for dialogue. Because even if you look back at how we got independence as a country, yes, there was a section of us that were fighting from the trenches. There was a section of us that were fighting from the forests. But we still had the Lancaster that eventually brought all of us together as a nation. We have seen very quick wins from the Gen Z protests. We've seen a president who has come out to make very radical changes. He's still pronouncing most of those changes, like in the fight against corruption. And I really hope Parliament is going to embrace and change those laws to make sure that some of these corruption cases do not drag for long. And I am very also optimistic that should we get that chance to have that national dialogue, that national conversation that brings everyone, not just the usual political faces. We will have a blend of new ideas on how to run this country. And we don't have any spare country. I wish and I pray for peace for this country. Thank you very much.
And it's also proper to know that Raila Odinga gave a couple of demands before dialogue should happen. So we're waiting to see if those boxes will be ticked in terms of those who were affected by the protests and whatnot. Your final take.
Right. My final take is I want to directly address this to His Excellency the President of this country, Dr. William Ruto, and also to the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, that we are not interested in the dialogue manner or the demeanor. We are interested on accountability, transparency, inclusiveness, matters of having the conversation, having seen we have rule of the law in this country. We do not even care who they front to run whatever they want to run in this country. We are interested to see there be transparency, accountability in this country. We have things put in place. So what we are seeing here, we are seeing a dialogue. A dialogue cannot help this country. What can help this country is when we have credible governance whereby everything is put on place, whereby every Kenyan can understand, to a point whereby Kenyans can come to a point of seeing actually the taxation that we are refusing, we actually need to help the government more. But because these guys are crook-minded people, their intention is to deprive this country from their rights. Their interest is to make sure that this country gets down there in matters of benefiting themselves. They don't care about us calling them for accountability or transparency. So let us have a country that is run in a meritocratic manner. Let us have a country that has governance as a whole package, and that will be a better country for us. So if they want to front anybody, whoever they want to front, that is their own discretion, that is their own prerogative, but let us address the issues that we fronted as one go, and that which will drive this country to a first world country.
Indeed,
thank you.
We agree to disagree on the dialogue. He agrees on dialogue. You want action,
yes.
And I'm sure you